The Arena Football Hall of Fame has returned, and we want you to become a part of the family. Introducing the Arena Football Hall of Fame Patreon. Whether an All-Star or a Hall of Famer, our reasonably priced tiers each have their own exclusive perks. Early access to the AFL Rewind podcast, honorary selection committee member, and much more. Help us build a Hall of Fame we'll all be proud of. Head to patreon.com/AF Hall of Fame to join. Welcome to AFL Rewind, a look back at all things arena football, sponsored by Phenom Elite. I'm your host, Tim Capper. When it comes to players who come to the Arena Football League, they're usually trying to do one thing, really. They're either trying to improve their skills, make a name for themselves in the AFL, and possibly become a star and continue to play here for years on end, or just to get enough film on their gameplay, just enough to impress the different scouts from another league, whether it be the Canadian Football League, the NFL, or another. Well, the gentleman that we're going to be speaking with this episode actually did the opposite. After making a name for himself in the Canadian Football League, he came to the AFL and had quite a career. So we're going to be speaking with a gentleman who played for probably one of the best named teams in pro football, the Minnesota Fighting Pike. This episode, it's quarterback Rickey Foggie. Well, with this episode of the podcast, we're going to be obviously continuing with trying to find out some more about these players that made the name for themselves in the Arena Football League and became, what became what really became names that people did remember, no matter what city that they played in. With us this episode is a gentleman who not only made a name for himself in his early football career in the CFL, but also specifically in the Arena Football League. Former quarterback, it is Rickey Foggie. Rickey, hey, thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's my pleasure.
Well, I mean, we know that you made a name for yourself originally before you came into the Arena Football League in the CFL. But I think I want to at least ask you the question. Before your career started off in BC back in the late '80s, what got you into football, Rickey?
Well, I think the pretty simple answer is just being the baby of 9 kids. Mm-hmm. And both my parents had to work, of course, to raise all those kids. And so they put me into every sport that was available at that time.
Okay.
And so, I was only with football. I played baseball, basketball, and I ran track. So, but football, once I started playing the quarterback position, I noticed that all the girls started to like me a little bit more. So I stuck with it.
Okay. Did at any point, I mean, did you, as you said, you chose football over everything else, the other sports that you did, were you good at all of them, or were you just okay at some of them? Do you think at one point you could have, besides football, chosen one over the other?
Oh yeah, I was not to brag about myself or anything, but I was all state in all 4 sports.
Okay.
So I was pretty good, but basketball was probably the one that I loved the most. But football offered me a scholarship to a Division I school, so I didn't have a choice.
Okay. For your pro career, obviously you started off with the BC Lions in the CFL in '98, and you played through, even with the U.S. expansion that was done in the late '90s, and your last team at that point was the Memphis Mad Dogs. What? Well, how would you say your time was in the CFL up to that point? I mean, as I said, you are a very well known name in the CFL. If you say Rickey Foggie in Regina, or in Montreal, or in Vancouver, they'll know your name. Up to that point, how did you feel about your football career?
Oh, I thought it was great. Just the experiences of the coaches that coached me. Adam Rita, being one of them. And I thought the game really suited me. being a black quarterback coming from out of, college in the mid to late 80s, we really wasn't approached to play the position in the NFL.
Right.
And so it definitely gave me another avenue where I could, continue playing quarterback. So that was, it was great for me. And being a runner / passer coming out of college, coming to play on that big field, I was loving it. And so, I was fortunate to be on some really good teams. In '88, we actually went to the Grey Cup with Matt Donegan at the helm.
Mm-hmm.
And '91, we actually went to the Grey Cup and won that one. And then we got from Toronto, we got traded.
Okay.
Bunch of guys got traded from Toronto to Edmonton in '93, and we actually ended up winning the Grey Cup there also. So, some very fond memories. A lot of friends that I'm still in contact with today, and so CFL was great for me. No complaints at all.
Now, from 95 to 96, 96 is where your career in the Arena Football League started, in what many would say, Rickey, is probably one of the best football names ever, the Minnesota Fighting Pike. First of all, what led to you leaving? You were with Memphis in 95. What led you to joining the Memphis Fighting Pike in 96? Sorry, the Minnesota Fighting Pike in 96.
Well, I was approached by my brother-in-law at the time. He was going to try out for the team. He had played had some experience playing in the CFL also.
Okay.
And just the fact that they was going to have a team, where I went to school and where I had my home field at the time. I didn't know a whole lot about arena football at that point, but they offered me some pretty good American cash,
right,
to play. So I jumped on it, and I'm very happy that I did. And that team was, like you say, the name was great, but our ownership was a little sketchy.
Okay.
And so, and it only lasted 1 year, but we had fun. We had some great teammates. I'm glad I was introduced to playing arena football at that point.
If I may ask, because you sort of mentioned it and you hinted at it, and you don't have to give me what the actual amount is, but I mean, when you say a nice, decent amount, and it being 1996, you're coming from the CFL. Can you give a range of what they offered you?
Yeah, I was in American dollars, it was like $65,000.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. And but I didn't get to get all of it. We, like I said, our ownership was a little sketchy.
Right.
And our last couple of checks didn't go through. But it was fun. It was fun.
How was it being coached by Ray Yock?
You know what? I knew Ray from Coach Yock from the CFL, and he was pretty laid back. We had a really good experience with Coach Yock. And I was probably one of the older guys on the team, so he gave me a lot of leeway, with the offense and let me call my own plays pretty much.
Okay.
But had a great experience with Coach Yock, and while we had our short time together, it was fun.
Obviously, with the way that the CFL is in the waggle and the forward motion right before the snap, it sounds like you got pretty well acquainted with the game quite quickly. I mean, or was there something with the game, obviously besides the nets and the walls? But I mean, was there anything else that you really had to get used to in that first year of the game?
Well, okay, this was my problem coming from college, going to the CFL on that big field.
Yeah,
I had to get some more arm strength. I really wasn't a really good deep ball thrower, and had to learn to throw that wide field out in the CFL, and then coming back to the Arena League, putting me in that little hockey arena with some turf on it, I was smoking guys. I was throwing the ball way too hard.
Okay.
So I had to tone it down a lot. But I had some guys who had been playing arena ball for a couple of years, and so they helped me get acclimated to the game by staying out to practice and working with me.
That's good. Now, obviously, you played with quite a few names that you had on your receiving core. Just a quick couple of them. One being Alvin Ashley, a very big name in the AFL, and obviously a gentleman who went on to become one of the most winningest head coaches in the league itself and in indoor football, and Kevin Guy. What was it like being on an expansion club? I don't know if you'd ever been, Memphis itself, but what was it like being a quarterback on a basically a team that was, a brand new team? I mean, were there struggles besides ownership aside? Were there struggles itself, or did you and the guys gel pretty good right away?
No, we did. The guys, we did gel pretty good right off the bat. I think a lot of guys, like I said, me being one of the older guys, kind of looks up to me, and I'm kind of a jokester, prankster type of guy on and off the field. So, no, we gelled together. We took us some time to, gel as a football team because we didn't really know each other's skill set.
Right.
So that took us some time to put that all together. But we made a good run down the stretch of the second half of the season. Guys started making some big plays, and we really started to enjoy playing the game.
In the next, you guys went, as you said, you went 4-10, but sometimes the team may have been so. But as I said, you had your good experience starting off in your career in the Arena Football League. In '97, I see here. Did you at one point had you been signed by the Anaheim Piranhas before you went to New Jersey?
You know what? I think I was. I have no idea what went on there. I'm getting old now. I just turned 54 today. I was briefly signed by Anaheim. Then I knew Coach Hagee was on the New Jersey staff, and he called me up because we had coached together at Oxford College here in Minneapolis, and told me to get my butt out there. They wanted me to come out and back up Aaron Garcia. So definitely made the right move.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
New Jersey is the team that you really stayed in for most of your career, and where I think you probably made the biggest name for yourself. We're coming upon the time here where, officially that free agency is about to become a thing for the first time in the AFL. What was your first reaction to New Jersey and the overall play of the team?
I'll tell you what, I think Coach Huffnagel, the job that he did out there with that football team was just incredible. I mean, we had some serious talent on that team.
Right.
I remember they had us staying in our training camp. We had to stay in a cell block, like an old jail cell block. And in New Jersey. Well, let me tell you, that brought that team together because we was fenced in, and everybody knew when somebody left, everybody knew when somebody came in, and it actually did. We started to look out for each other, and we brought that team really close together. We had some guys with some sketchy backgrounds, but there was heck of football players. And Coach Huffnagel did a great job of keeping everybody on the straight and narrow and helping us focus on the goal of winning. And he did an excellent job with that football team.
So you have to tell me any particular pranks that were that you guys played on each other, considering that you were at a jail. That was. You know what? I think not any really specific pranks. I think that the one thing that Huffnagel did do, he actually was a pretty good athlete himself, being a quarterback at Penn State.
he would always play pickup basketball with us after practice.
Oh.
Yep, 5-on-5. That was part of our extra conditioning. Like I said, we had a bunch of athletes on that team. Alvin Ashley being one of them that you mentioned earlier. He was a heck of a basketball player also. But no, it was just the fact that I had a little Maxima with a boom box in the back, and in the early evenings we would go out there when the sun was going down and open up the car doors and have the music blasting and drinking some beers and some gin and juice, and and guys just having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is the experience different from this? I mean, this is your second straight expansion club. Actually, technically third if you count the CFL. But how was it for this time around being an expansion club versus '96 in Minnesota?
I just think ownership. I think like I said, the ownership in Minnesota. We didn't know what was going to actually happen to our football team. I just think that the ownership and the stable head coach and Coach Huffnagle, he was well respected by all the players. I think that was the biggest difference. And everybody had one goal in mind. Everybody wanted to win.
Yeah.
And each player had each player's back. And I mean, arena football at that point, they had some serious talent in the league. So it was competitive week in and week out.
Did anybody happen to give you any ribbing or say anything, considering that you're a guy who at the time had been a CFL lifer? You come to the Arena Football League, and in your second year in the league, your head coach is a guy who came from the CFL. He's very well known. He's a legend in the CFL. John Huffnagle is, but you get any ribbing and saying, "Hey, wait a minute, Ricky, you're not happen to be coach. You're not coach's favorite, are you?"
No, if that was the case, I would have been starting in front of Garcia Aaron. So no, I knew Coach Huffnagle was, from being in the CFL.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't play in the favorites. He played the best guy, and Aaron Garcia was definitely at that point was the best guy. So no, the CFL ties did not connect.
Okay. Now, I think what was pretty funny is that you're back in the league itself, and you actually happen to end up back in Canada technically, because at a game that I actually attended, Ricky, I was actually at that game when you guys played the Florida Bobcats at the Scotia. I think, what was it called back then? I think it was called the Corel Center back then when you guys played in Ottawa. Did you find it was just a tad funny that you spent all those years in the CFL and then you happen to come up for a real game that counted in the standings, and you happen to be back in Ottawa?
It was fun because I like my rookie year in the CFL. The Grey Cup was in Ottawa, so so that was a fun feeling to be able to go back and be a part of that experience. And that's just little things like that. That's just things that you can always remember for the rest of your life.
For sure. You play your team that year. You're 9-5. You lost out only by 8 points to Orlando in the first round of the playoffs. Being this was your very first winning season in the Arena Football League, I mean, did you feel you felt you had a pretty good season in '97?
Oh yeah, we had a really good season. I mean, like Alvin Ashley had a guy named Larry Ray Willis, playing receiver also, and we just ran into a heck of Orlando Predators team. We had to play them down there in the playoffs. And, we gave them all we had, and they was just a better team. So, no, definitely a successful season. I remember we had to go up and play Eddie Brown when he was up in Albany with the Firebirds.
Yep.
That was we had some nice battles with him. So, no, it was great. There's no question.
I think I'll agree with you, considering I think that your natural rival would have been at that time the Albany Firebirds, because I remember some of the games that your two teams played. They were just barn burners and what, if you wanted to see an Arena Football League game, those are the type of games that you wanted to see.
Yeah, no question. I mean, we had a couple guys they couldn't stop, and they had one guy nobody could stop. So it was quite the battle.
Yeah. Now I don't know. I wasn't able to find this. Did you actually come back to Canada again in the off season in '97? Because the Red Dogs took part in another exhibition game in December in Calgary. Were you a part of that roster back then?
No, I didn't go there because I went back. I don't know if it was '97 because I went back and played in the CFL.
You did, correct? Yes, that's right. You're with the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
With the Tiger Cats. I forget what year that was.
Yeah, that was '97.
Yeah, I didn't make that trip yet. So I went back foolishly to play. I think I almost got a half a season in with the Tiger Cats. Mm-hmm. And that was probably one of the dumbest decisions I ever made because my body just took a beating that year.
Okay. As you said, yeah, you know, and it was funny. There were many players like yourself who made the switch back and forth between playing Arena and playing the CFL, or you know, at the same time within the same year. You know, Robert Gordon, I'm sure as you know, Robert Gordon ended up playing around 30 straight games between the CFL and the AFL. So it's saying, well, our Cal Trueluck did the exact same thing in Detroit. So I can only imagine what it's like, you know, wide receiver versus quarterback. I can imagine you guys get a hit a heck of a lot more. So I can only imagine how you felt at the end of '97.
Broken. In one word, broken.
When you returned back in '98 for the Dogs, you know, the first year you had just an absolutely amazing year that first year. You did, and same thing with the second year. I mean, what was it like? You know, because I'm sure people want to know. I mean, you know, a future Hall of Famer, I'm sure, in Aaron Garcia, considering all the records that he owns. But what was it like, you know, playing with Aaron Garcia?
Oh, he was probably one of the nicest guys I've been around in my whole football career. I mean, super competitive. There's no question about that. Worked hard on and off the football field. I mean, and he was just a baller. I mean, I'm serious. I ever see AG take some shots and be like,
yeah,
holy cow. I'm going to go start warming up. But he hung in there, and they used to call me a gunslinger. I used to call him gunslinger too. So, no, super competitive guy. Could throw the football like no other, can make every throw in Arena League. And so, no, he was fun to be around. And, you know, I never wanted to settle to be a backup in any league, but I didn't mind sitting behind Aaron because he was fun to watch. Yeah.
In '86, you guys went. In '98, you went 8-6. You were able to you know, your natural rival at the time, Albany. You're able, and I think Albany was one of the higher seeded teams. So you were able to shock the AFL and knock them off in the first round of the playoffs in Albany. Mm-hmm. You go and you play Tampa Bay, and up against the Tim Markham's Tampa Bay Storm. You did lose that game, you know, to move on to the within the playoffs itself, but you got farther than you did the year before. Was that? How is it going? You know, you have your characters of coaches in the CFL, and you had your character of coaches in the Arena League. What was your impression of Coach Markham?
I didn't really like him that much because you couldn't beat him. But no, he was a heck of a coach. I mean, like you said, another Arena Football League Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's just a flat-out coach. I mean, and the talent that he had, because, you know, football is not about X's and O's.
Right.
You know, you got to have some talent. And you know, he got a ton of talent from the state of Florida. And he knew how to put them in the right position. And, I mean, he just had some guys that could win. And I can't remember the defensive back name, but I think he went on to the NFL that we played against that year.
Okay.
And I mean, he had a guy. We just couldn't shake him. We couldn't get away from him. And if we would have won that game, we probably lost half our team for that next week. So they put a whooping on us pretty good.
Oh,
yeah, they
boy.
was physical. They was physical.
And also, winning in Tampa Bay was not the easiest thing to do either, was it, Ricky?
Oh, no, not at all. But it was a fun atmosphere to play in. There's no question. I remember my kids. I remember them telling me how much fun they had watching Dad getting his butt whipped on national TV. And but it was a great place to play a playoff game.
99, you guys, it's your first, you guys didn't do so well. You were 6-8, but you were the man itself. It was your team, the quarterback that year with Garcia departing. What was your thought on this 99 team? How come you guys weren't able to gel as well as you had the past 2 years?
I think, with Aaron leaving, played a part, because he was a great personality on our team also. Just not just being the quarterback, but personalities make a big difference also.
Right. In
the mixing of a football team. And, we had that also when I was in Toronto. Mm-hmm. After we won the Grey Cup in 91, we had that same team in 92, and we went maybe 8-10 or something like that. We just didn't have our mojo no more. So it's hard to put a finger on it, on just one thing. But like I said at the beginning, Arena at that time was a really, really good football league with some great football players playing in that league. So it was a dogfight every week.
Do you think the other reason why you guys you weren't doing so well in 99 was because of the change in head coach? With Coach Huffnagel leaving the team, you had another new head coach. Do you think that played a part in your team going 6-8?
Is that the same year? Was that the same year Tommy Maddox came? Any idea?
Well, you were the guy. It was you and Charles Polari.
Oh yeah, that's right. And who was the head coach?
It was Frank. Is it Frank Mattias?
Yeah, that's probably the reason right there. No, I can't blame it all on the coach. Coaches coach and players play. But no, definitely Coach Huffnagel leaving played a huge role for sure. Because if you go from a guy like that who's been around football his entire career, and I think Coach Frank was a local guy.
Okay.
And I don't think he had as much arena ball experience, and so to come in and try to get a hold on a veteran group like we was, I don't know. It just didn't mesh.
Okay.
It just didn't. We didn't do our parts as players, and just having a different leader kind of just made things a little more different.
Okay.
So glad to get out of that dang time travel machine.
Where'd you go?
I went back to the 80s to grab some of that good sports merch from my favorite defunct franchises. I spent my life savings on that machine.
You bought a time travel machine to buy sports merchandise.
Yeah, gladly.
You know you could have gone to 503 Sports, right? The website?
Yeah, no, I didn't think of that at all.
Yeah, they sell all sorts of throwback sports merch from leagues like the World Football League, XFL, UFL, and the Arena Football League, several others.
Shoot.
Yeah, they sell hats, shirts, even custom jerseys from all sorts of vintage sports teams.
Oh, man, I spent a lot of money on that time travel machine.
Well, look, listeners of AFL Rewind get 10% off their first order by using the promo code ARENAFAN at checkout. That might help you out.
Yeah, it does.
Go on over to 503-sports.com and get your merch today.
Do you know anyone who wants to buy like a overpriced time travel machine?
No, sorry, I don't.
Now, heading into the 2000 season, there was this there was an issue when it came to the league and the players. The league at one point decided that they were going to announce that they were going to be canceling the season because of, as I said, you had free agency that the players wanted, and also there was if I'm not mistaken, there was the lawsuit when it came to James Guidry because of him getting hurt. What now I don't know if you are a staunch union guy. I don't know how you were in the CFL, but what were your thoughts originally when you heard that the league was going to fold because of ...
I wasn't sure. I'm not a political guy. Never have, never will be. I just think I wasn't sure, and so I was kind of wondering what I was going to do, pretty much with my own football career at that point. So no, I didn't stand on either side of the fence on that one. I stay away from that stuff.
Did you feel though that, I mean, as you said, we know approximately how much you were making at that point. Did you feel that, I mean, from what you had heard from players and stuff, that it was something that actually had to be done? You guys deserved to have what you were asking the league for?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we heard from a lot of guys now, man. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I think, from what I can remember, I think James Barron was making a big push, for the players.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, so it was something that definitely needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question about that.
Now, obviously, the league did come back. They announced less than a month later that the league was going to be playing that year. As a football player, because there really has never been a lockout or that type of thing in the CFL when you were there, or as far as knowing its history.
Yep.
How does it make you feel as a player knowing that one thing, as you said, you're trying to figure out about your football career? How did you feel knowing that one thing can really determine your career as in football itself? Knowing that at any time, if there is a collective bargaining dispute, especially in, people might call the Arena Football League minor league, no matter what you're being paid. But
yeah.
What were your thoughts knowing that that's basically they have your career in their hands?
Well, I'll tell you this. I was putting in some calls back to the CFL.
Okay.
To see if I could get back up there. So, but no, it is. I've never, have been, through anything like that previously.
Yeah.
So it was something new for me to experience, because I was married with 4 kids and and had to take care of my family. So. And thankfully, it all did work out for the better.
Yeah. Now, that year, you split the time with your head coach, who was Frank Mattis again, but also a gentleman that you had just finished playing with, I think, for the past 3 seasons, in Kevin Guy. I mean, obviously, you had your opinions of what Kevin Guy was as a player, but how do you think Kevin made the transition from being player to now he was your interim head coach?
Oh, I think he did a great job. I think that was the year Tommy Maddox played.
It is. You are correct, sir.
Yeah. And so that kind of threw everybody for a loop at that point, because we were like, okay, where in the world did Tommy Maddox come from? Shouldn't he be over in that NFL locker room trying to make their team instead of trying to, be on our team? Mm-hmm. But I guess Coach Frank had got the call from the GM, who it was at the time, that they wanted Tommy to come in and kind of get the rust off so he can get another shot at the NFL.
Right.
Which was, it was fine. It didn't change my paycheck any, so it bothered me, but it didn't bother my bank account, so which was a good thing.
No. How does it feel being going from a starter? Because many fans may not know how a player feels. I mean, do you feel that, as you said, some may feel slighted, some may feel that it's politics, some may feel it's a money situation or what? But we know it's not money because that's what you just said. But for a player, you're a starter, and then you're the backup, and you're the backup by no fault of yours. It's not like you got hurt. How did you feel it ended up being that you were? Was it because of name recognition and money is why you ended up being the number 2?
Yeah, I mean, like I said from the beginning, I'm kind of a laid back person.
Right.
I don't let a whole lot get to me. And everybody knew it was BS.
Yeah.
But at that point we still had a job. There was nothing we could do. He was going to start regardless. Of what I said or what anybody said. So that was part of the plan that they had put in place, and so you just have to roll with it. So you're upset because you, as a football player and as an athlete, you should be the starter, and like you said, to no fault of my own that I all of a sudden became a backup. But if the guys up top have a plan and that's the plan they're gonna stick to, then just wait it out. And so I did, and I finally got some playing time at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. You only went 4-10 that season. You didn't make the playoffs. And obviously now with the new CBA that has been introduced into the league, free agency is a very big thing now. And players are moving from team to team and team to team. I mean, even at one point in '99, Ricky, you had the great Barry Wagner traded, but then not. So I'll ask you about that a little bit later if I can. But how did you end up going to the Bobcats in 2001?
Ching ching.
Speaking of free agency.
Yes, indeed. Hey, and who wouldn't want to be in Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah,
Florida. And so they pretty much gave me a really nice contract. And like I said, Florida's not a bad place to live. Mm-hmm. And so, that was pretty much. They also told me, I told them part of my deal,
right,
that I had to have my center, Matthew Steeple. They had to sign him also in free agency. So, and they did, was willing to do that. So at that point, it was a no-brainer. We was gonna go down there together. I knew I had somebody that was gonna watch my back, and so we went for it.
It's good to see. Obviously, they signed you for the contract that they did, and then you have some pull to say, listen, you have to sign this guy. That must have made you feel. That must have made you feel good.
It did, and the thing is that Matthew Steeple was a really good center, and he was for years in the Arena Football League. So. And then, I was trying to pull one over him. I wanted somebody that I knew was going to protect me, and so that was really great for me. And people got paid pretty well also, so he still thanks me to the day.
You were talking about we talked about it before, so I bring it up again. Different different times now in the AFL. What, if you don't mind me asking, what was your total contract for that 1 year?
I got for that 1 year in Florida, my base was like 85 with bonuses.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a good time for arena football.
Yeah, for sure. Now I have to ask you. I mean, your team. You did pretty good that year. I mean, you were 6-8 in 2001. But I have to ask you as a player, not necessarily about Coach Dave Ewart, because we know what he's become in indoor football and arena football. Well, I'm going to ask you about this arena that you had to play in, because I recently saw I saw a game on YouTube with you starting at quarterback at home at this arena, and this arena was it's really, was it really tough to call it an arena?
No, the arena was nice.
Yeah,
because they played their hockey there. We just couldn't get anybody to come. So, like, say today, because of the virus, that would be a great place to play arena football, because we probably had 20 people in the stands. And that was probably the only thing about having football in Florida is that nobody wants to be inside in the spring and summertime. But no, it was fun. Coach Hewitt was a really good guy. I bonded with him really well. I don't want to say anything bad about Ben Bennett, but we just didn't get along.
Yeah.
And so he kind of, and Ben was the offensive coordinator, and he wanted to do something. I wanted it to not have it my way. I thought we had some big receivers, and I thought we could have used them differently. And Ben had a different philosophy, and it just didn't work well for us at the beginning of the season. And Coach Dave finally got rid of him towards the middle of the season.
Okay. Do you find that tough as a quarterback? I mean, you said obviously sometimes players and coaches are going to clash. Is this really the first time that you've had that much? I guess we would say a problem with how a coach of yours is calling plays, because you had been the OC before, you'd been calling your plays before, and then now you have somebody who's in charge of them.
Mm-hmm.
And
I didn't have a problem with that, and I just think that he demanded that he have it his way. I think most coaches, most coaches are player friendly.
Right.
If you got a guy who's a veteran and who's been around a lot of football, you'll at least be willing to listen. You would think. Yeah. And he just wasn't. So I just didn't find that ideal. It wasn't fun.
Off to your next team in the Arena Football League, and you actually ended up playing with two clubs. I was looking for it here. You played with Toronto first and then Detroit, or was it the opposite way around?
Opposite way around.
Okay, so you played with Toronto first.
No, Detroit first.
Oh, sorry, Detroit first. Okay.
Yeah.
So playing for the.
Let me tell you about Detroit.
Yes, please.
worst football experience I've ever had.
Really?
Was Coach Davis was the head coach?
It was
Mouse Davis.
Yeah, it was Mouse Davis. Yeah.
Now you're talking about a guy who had his favorites. Now I'm not talking about the players.
Right.
I'm just talking about the coach.
Okay.
This guy was weird, and so I've been around a lot of coaches, because I've been around football for a long time. Even up to that point. And I don't know. I just don't think I don't know if he didn't like my personality, which I find it hard to believe that anybody couldn't like my personality. He just had a couple guys that if they said something, and they just got their way.
Okay.
He had defensive pass rushers, and they had to play offense too. Right? And so I am not kidding. I thought I was being sabotaged. I thought those guys blocked so bad on offense just so they can get back and play defense and see if they can get some sacks. That was my worst football experience in my total of 18 years of professional football.
I guess we could say the plus was you were there for I'm double checking this now as we're talking, but at least you were there and you were the quarterback for their only win that year.
And he gave me a decent signing bonus, so I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But that team was just some of the players I was really cool with, because Robert Gordon was on that team.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And True Luck was on that team.
Yep, Arkell. Yep, that's correct. Yep.
Yep, Arkell was on there. Kevin Kinney was on there. I was really cool with Kevin. We was real next to each other in the apartment, so I got to know him really well. So but Coach Davis was weird, man. That's a way to bring up a bad memory.
Sorry. Oh man. Well, I guess that's the end of this interview.
Yeah, exactly.
At what point Was it that you asked for your release to be traded, or did you just ask for a trade? How did you end up in Toronto? And obviously, it was a whole different situation in Toronto.
Yeah, it just wasn't fun. If you're at a job and you go in there and you go into work and you're like, what in the world am I doing here? And so, yeah, it got to the point where it just wasn't fun for me. And I went in and asked Coach Dave to get me out of there. And rightfully so, he did. So that was really good for me because I just couldn't take it. It just wasn't a good atmosphere for me.
Mm-hmm. Now, so you're saying switching from Coach Davis to Coach Stout. I mean, I've heard different things about Coach Stout. I've seen he's coached for quite a few years in indoor football. How would you? I mean, was it a night and day situation between Coach Davis and Coach Stout?
It was. I think Coach Stout was more of a detail guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember when I first got there, I think we went down, played Orlando or Tampa, and I was charting plays, and I thought I put the chart back in the football bag, and when we got back to Toronto, he said I can't find the chart sheet.
Right.
And I'm like, look in the football bag. It's like, it's not in the football bag. And he goes, it's your responsibility. I go, my responsibility to keep the chart sheet from Tampa to bring it back to Toronto? And I mean, he was really ticked off. I'm like, okay, we just lost by 20-something points, and you worried about the chart sheet? So, I mean, it was a better environment for sure. I was back in Toronto where I had a lot of friends that I could hang out with when I went back.
Yep.
But I just think I had been spoiled by a lot of coaches who actually were guys that knew the X's and the O's, but the most important thing was they knew how to treat players, and they knew how to get guys to play for them and play hard for them and run through that brick wall for them, like Huffnagel and like a Adam Reeder.
Yep.
And what was the coach in Edmonton? Oh, Coach Lancaster.
Yeah, Coach Lancaster.
Yeah, I mean, that guy played for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so you think he knows some football. So, I think I had been spoiled, and then, to run up into some coaches of other different type of coaching styles, it just didn't sit well for me. It might have worked for them, but, for me, it just didn't work for me. So, so you just choose to depart ways.
How was the ownership under Rob Godfrey in Toronto? Obviously, you've been. I mean, people knew you in Toronto because of your CFL history. But
yeah.
How was Rob Godfrey and their ownership group for the Phantoms?
I think they was fine. I mean, I don't think I was there that long, but I think it was good. I don't think I think they treated the players well. I think the coaches got treated well. So nothing to complain about there. I was treated well when I went back.
Yeah, and you had some good guys, whether you were on the bench or whether you're playing playing under center. I mean, you can now say, I mean, look at Damien Harrell. Look what he did in his career. Charlie Davidson, a lifer. Ty Law, Khalil Carter, Jermaine Younger. You had, some named guys that, Kelvin Ingram,
Mm-hmm.
some guys that became huge names in the Arena Football League. You're able to say that you were able to play them, along with, can't forget Pat O'Hare either. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pat was a really good guy. I had fun playing with Pat. Really good quarterback, really solid guy. Pat was really nice to hang around. So, and that's what I say about sports. It's competitive. Then professional sports is you get paid to do your job. But I mean, I don't think you can put a price on the type of people that you meet, the different types of coaching styles that you get tutelage under. All of those things. I stay in contact with a lot of my teammates and some of my coaches, and so I mean that's priceless. You can't put a price on that.
Yeah.
And So that's the most probably the things that I remember about playing professional sports, playing arena ball, and playing in the Canadian League is, I've found guys that if I hadn't played, that I would never know.
Yep.
I got some guys that are my best friends still to this day. If I hadn't have played football, I would have never ran into those guys. So that's what I'm grateful for.
Yeah. Now, earlier in the interview, you said how your body was in '97 when you went from New Jersey to Hamilton. This time around, you ended up going from Toronto to the BC Lions. Was it a different situation for your body at that point?
Yeah, it was. Because when I played arena, I was actually playing a lot. And then when I went to Toronto, they told me I was going to be when I went to Hamilton, they told me I was going to be the backup.
Right.
But I ended up playing a lot.
Right.
So, no, it was a different scenario. Hamilton wasn't that good at the time. I think we might have won one game. And then I went to BC, which was fun too. But my body was in much better shape that second time around.
Okay. And at least I have to ask, because you did come back for one more year to play with the Carolina Cobras in 2004. What, if you don't mind me asking, what did you do in 2003? Why did you stay away from football in 2003?
Oh, they told me I was too old. They told me I'm too old. I'm like, man, I can still play. And so I couldn't catch on. I couldn't find a team. And so I just took the year off, did some substitute teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And, but no, and then in 04 rather, I just wanted to give it one more shot to see if I still had it. And, guess who I was sitting behind in 04? Matt Nagy.
That's right. And it's interesting in 04 too, at least I have to ask you this question, because it's very rare that any player or anybody in football sees a turnover at head coach like you did in 2004. John Gregory, Eddie Kayat, Ron Selesky, all very well-known names in the Arena Football League.
Yeah.
What was it like being a member of that 04 Cobra squad going through 3 head coaches?
It was a circus. That's what it was. No, it was. I mean, Coach Gregory, I knew him from the CFL also.
Mm-hmm.
And, really good guy, knew a lot of football. He's, another, well-known name in arena football also. But he just wanted Matt Nagy to be the quarterback for some reason. Maybe he knew in Matt's future he was going to become an NFL head coach and maybe get some tickets out of him or something. But he and then it just seemed like Matt didn't really have a big interest in being a starting quarterback. So we were like, well, let me play. But it didn't work out that way. And then, like you said, Coach Gregory was gone. And then I think Coach Selesky might have finished up maybe the last 3 or 4 games, maybe.
Coach Selesky finished up on the last 6.
Last 6 games?
Last 6 games.
No, it was, it was a circus for sure. Because I was divorced at that time, but my kids were living in Charlotte, so it was good for me to be down there for that spring and summer. But I think we had the best time when Coach Selesky took over. He kind of let the players be themselves. Mm-hmm. And so, no, we ended up having a good time, having a good. Players was fun. We had some guys from New Jersey, Ron Perry, Chris Pope. Those guys was on that team. They was on that same New Jersey Red Dog team too that I was on. So we ended up having fun and making the best of it.
And obviously, you have so many different ties to a lot of players. then obviously there's Rob Barones.
Yep, the kicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had in New Jersey, we had George LaFrance come through.
That's true.
Yeah, and I'm still really good buddies with George now, and so I mean, like I said, it's amazing. From where Arena Elite started, that league has some serious talent, man. I mean, who could stop Eddie Brown?
Nobody.
I mean, even you said his name from Orlando.
Oh, Barry Wagner.
Nobody could stop Wagner. I mean, it was such a competitive league. It was amazing like I said, when you look back on the guys who played. I mean, James Barron that guy's a stud.
Yep.
And like I said, my center, who was Matthew Steeple was probably 6'6", probably 325, and just, I mean, huge. I ain't talking about fat. I'm talking about huge.
Right.
His forearms was probably bigger than my thighs. And I seen James Barron pick him up.
Wow.
So I knew at that point we was gonna have a long night.
After 2004, what made you switch and switch? What gave you the opportunity to go to coach in the AF2?
I was done playing, but because I've been in football for so long, I still want to be around it.
Right.
Arena football AFL2 gave me a good opportunity to get into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know I was going to end up in Amarillo, Texas. But no, it was fun. I mean, we had a blast. Amarillo was a small city, but we had some kids who had been playing like a local indoor league, so they kind of knew the ins and outs of Arena 2 football. And I really bonded well with my quarterback that I had down there, a kid named Julian Reese. Ashley, he's like a son to me still to the day. And so, no, it was fun. I'm glad I made the decision to get into coaching Arena 2 football down there.
Out of the three cities in the AF2 that you coached in, Rickey, which did you like the best? Was it Amarillo, Everett, or Macon?
Oh, see, there you go. You had to bring up another bad story in my football career. Everett, Washington. I don't not ever want to hear Sam. What was the Sam last name? The owner.
Oh,
he was a former football player.
Tip of my tongue. I know what it is. But continue. I'll look it up as we're still talking. But continue.
This guy was so hands-on. So Everett's not my favorite city. Let me just make that clear.
Right.
He was so hands-on with football players and personnel moves. I went home on my bye week, and when I came back, let me start over. I brought probably about 8 or 9 of my players from Amarillo. I brought them up there with me to Everett. And he probably had 10 to 12 of his players that he had been playing in an indoor football league up there that he put on the team also. And so, so when I went home for the bye week, when I come back, he's cut 7 of my football players.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, he sent them home.
Sam Adams, by the way. Sam Adams. That's the worst owner in any league history. He's bad. Oh, he's so bad. But
No, I think it was a tie between Macon and Amarillo.
Okay.
I like Macon because I'm from the South. I'm from South Carolina originally. So it reminded me of home, and a lot of soul food, really nice people. And, and got the opportunity to coach with Coach Stingley, Derek Stingley.
Yep.
His son is pretty good at LSU right now. So, no, it was fun. And we had some players on both of those teams. And then again, like when I was in Macon, we probably had 4 or 5 of my kids that I had coached in Amarillo. They would follow me around the country. They were like, "Coach, wherever you go, we'll go." And so I brought them over there with me, and we had some fun.
Yeah. Well, I have to at least ask you. As I said, I know it's the second bad memory happened to brought up, not on purpose, but for Everett, what's it like to be a head coach and get fired after you win a game?
It was wonderful. I'm telling you, it was wonderful. I mean, if anybody could create a bad atmosphere for a head coach, Sam Adams was the best at it. Seriously, I would be in my office, probably doing my practice plan. He'll come in and go, "Coach, let's take a ride." Well, I already knew what that meant. He was ready to cut somebody. And so, he would sit in while I'm breaking down film with the other coaches. He'd sit in the meeting and make comments. I'm like, "Why don't you just coach the team then?" Oh, he was bad. That was the worst decision for me to make. Because, I see me as a black coach. I've seen him as a black owner. I'm like, okay, I go work for this dude. It's got to be a good environment.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, never again. That was so bad.
Had you seen owners in your playing career that did the exact same thing, or was this really the first time where you saw an owner that was just like, "Stay away, dude"?
This is the first and the last time I've ever seen one. Most owners, they ain't got time to sit in no football meeting. They out trying to, make money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this dude, this guy would sit in on our meeting and was like, "Why do you do this? Or, why do you do that?" I'm like, "Why do you do this?" I'm like, "Why are you in here?"
Yeah.
Yeah, he was hands-on. And he played favoritism with the guys on his team.
Right.
And discredit the guys that I brought. That was bad. It just didn't make sense. It's like, okay, if you got a guy who actually knows how to coach, wouldn't you just let him coach?
Yeah, exactly. Supposedly that's what you were hired for, right?
Right. No, he was the total opposite. I'm like, when I got fired, I almost ran to the airport.
Who in your final year as a coach in arena football, you ended up being the OC over with the Kansas City Brigade. Who convinced you to come to Kansas City?
Actually, Otis Moore, who was on our Carolina Cobra team. Otis was the defensive line coach.
Okay.
And then Coach KP. What's KP name? The head coach.
Oh,
Kevin.
I should know it here. Kevin Porter.
Kevin Porter, yeah, Coach Porter. Then another black guy as a head coach, and he had and his defense coordinator also was a black guy. So I'm figuring, okay, let's go do the brother thing and coach with these guys. And, okay, I think you have to know that stint arena football, right? So nobody in arena football coaches from 7 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening. Nobody does, because there's nothing you can prepare that long. Right? Except for us. We start we had to be at the office at 7, do our game plan. We'd go to practice at 9, be done by 11, come back, break down the practice film, prepare the practice plan for tomorrow. So by 1, I'm done. I'm all done. Ain't got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
But you can't leave. It's like we was on the clock. And so I eventually said, Coach, I like to play golf, man. Once I'm done, I'm leaving. So I eventually left, and he was okay with that. I thought he was, but I guess it really bothered him that I wasn't there.
Right. So
at the end of the season, he goes, I think you did a great job as an offensive coordinator. And he says, the owners just want you to come and chit-chat, like an end of the year meeting, and then we'll see where we go from there. So I went in and sat down and talked with the owners. It's like it was an interview. I'm like, what is this all about?
Yeah.
And so, and his coaching style was, like I said, he was a little different also. He wanted to meddle in everything. He didn't just want to sit back and let coaches coach. And I was glad to get out of there too.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, so after that, I came back to Minnesota and got me a high school coaching football job.
Okay. Had you been contacted at all? Because obviously, as everybody knows, at the late 2008, the league folded for the second time.
Mm-hmm.
Had you been contacted by any team prior to joining them, before the league folded, to join them in 2009?
No, I was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was time to get away from arena football. I had my fair share.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted to come back and be more of have an influence on our teenage kids. Right. And so that's why I decided to come back to get into high school coaching.
Okay. When it comes to your Arena Football League career, Rickey, when you think about your time, who's the one person, coach, player, executive, whatever, that you will remember the most, that really made the biggest impact on you?
Man, it's hard to say just one person.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, and when it's arena, I think just Coach Huffnagel.
Okay.
I just think his the way he paid attention to the little details. I just think his play calling ability was spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
His ability to get players from different walks of life, different nationalities, different colors, to all just bond, and play well. I love Matthew Steeple and Alvin Ashley, Ron Perry, and Chris Pope. I love all those guys like brothers. Mm-hmm. Larry Willis, we all still stay in contact. So to pick just one person is very difficult, but I just think from me transitioning from a player to a coach, mm-hmm. I think it's definitely Coach Huffnagel had the biggest impression on me to allow me to have some success in coaching also. I took a lot from him. That guy had incredible offensive mind, but he still let the players go out and do their thing,
right.
And so, I think Coach Huffnagel had the biggest impression coming out of Arena Football League. The guy was, I have high praise and respect for Coach Huffnagel. He did an unbelievable job for us as players. He let us be who we are. But we knew not to step out of line with him. That's just the kind of respect that you would want you know, from a head coach and to be a player, if you cross that line, you know your butt was in trouble. So, and that was really fun, and I really appreciate what he did for us as players.
I know there were so many different cities that you played in as a quarterback. What was your favorite city to go to, unless it was at home, or where? And what was your worst city to go to?
I think Anaheim was really boring. That was probably one of my, I wouldn't say like the worst city. It was just nothing to do.
Right.
So
good thing you didn't play quarterback for them then.
Yeah, you got that right. I've been bored out of my mind. The best cities, I think no-brainers are got to be Arizona is one. Phoenix. Yeah. Phoenix for sure. You can't beat Orlando and Tampa. Yeah. Those cities was great, but just a year when I played for the Bobcats, we was only 30 minutes from Miami. Okay. So can't beat that. I mean, that was some nights, or should I say mornings, when we left the nightclub and we had to go right to practice.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, and that probably played a little part in us not being so successful on the field also. But you can get in trouble at that place. But I think that was the best city. Fort Lauderdale was one of the funner cities, for sure. But just and the best teams for me was definitely New Jersey. We bonded really well there as football players, and we kind of grew up, with each other and helped each other out a lot because we stayed in some not the best communities, so we had to stick together.
So as you and I are speaking tonight, the Arena Football League did go into bankruptcy, and it is very possible that the Arena Football League will never return again. If somebody were recognize you in the streets, say maybe let's say in 5 years, and ask you about the Arena Football League, what would you tell them?
I would tell them if you wasn't around in the 90s and 2000s, and besides the NFL, of course, I think arena football was the next best thing to the NFL. Because like I said from the beginning, like I say now, there was some serious talent in that football league. Coaches, there was some serious coaches, there was some serious players. It was very competitive. I mean, you go to this game, it's packed. Mm-hmm. And so I'll say you really missed out. I mean, it was a great league. It gave players who didn't get the opportunity to play in the NFL or get to play in the CFL. It gave them another avenue for these players to go play and actually get paid. And so I think that's why we played so hard. Is everybody who was playing at that time really loved playing arena football. Yeah. We really did. We looked up to each other. We looked out for each other, and we went to other cities to play. Players hung out with each other after the game, and we just felt that it was a special league, at that time, and they had some special players. Yeah. And so we really enjoyed each other.
Well, I always say I always enjoy hearing about the side of the player's side of history, to hear their stories about when they were in the league and stuff like that. And I always say that whether you're a coach, a fan, a player, an executive, everybody is a part of what I call the Arena Football family. And Rickey, I really appreciate your time. We loved hearing hearing your stories about your time in the AFL. And again, I really appreciated your time.
I appreciate it also, and thanks for having me on. Now I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight because of those two bad memories.
How about this, Rickey? We'll both lift one tonight. We'll salute each other, and hopefully you'll be able to get to sleep later on.
All right, sounds good, and I appreciate you guys having me on.
We want to thank Rickey for joining us for this episode of AFL Rewind. It was interesting to hear him explain how he was able to make the transition and how he was actually brought into the AFL, where he was able to finish his career. If you happen to miss any of the previous episodes of this podcast, there are many places where you can find them and get caught up. You can head over to SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or our audio version over on YouTube. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, or suggestions when it comes to players that you'd like to hear in the future, you can email us at aflrewind@arenafootball.com. For everybody here at AFL Rewind, I'm Tim Capper. Watch the rebound off the net.